In this video, we're going to be covering the list views of Android and what are the list views and what they can do. So let's get started. So let's create a project, new Android application project, and then I'm going to create list view com.with list view. I'm going to click on next, and finish. That's it. Now it is appeared on the way. So I'm just gonna explore it, and that's it. I'm gonna first of all delete this one, and then I'm gonna copy a list view from the left form widgets panel into this area. So I'm gonna get into the composite and now drag it in here, and as you can see that we can easily now expand it, and that's it. This is now we have a list view. I'm just going to get back to form widgets. Now we have a list view. I'm just going to save it and then get back to activity underscore main XML file, and I'm going to make a little bit tweak in the Android ID. Just going to delete it and I'm going to make it Android ID / list. It will totally help us because when we are dealing with list views, we're going to have to make ID in this format so that it will be clearly known that it is a list, nothing else than that. Now I'm going to save it and get back to main activity. Here, one thing you're going to have to notice that this is actually extending activity, and we are now dealing with the list view. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to extend a list activity in here. And when we extend the list activity in here, I'm just going to import it, and yes, and that's it. Now we have imported it, and I'm going to organize the imports by clicking on organize imports, and that's it. Now we have a list activity extended in here, and now we can do and manipulate the list on the layout. So I'm just going to click on it, and to access the list objects and list elements, we're going to have to create a list adapter, or to put on something in that list we're going to have to use a list adapter. So to set a list adapter, what I'm going to have to use set list and then control plus space, and in here I'm going to use new array adapter with interest source and context. So why we are using array adapter for storing the data as an array. So I'm just gonna remove this and make it a string, because we are actually storing the data as a string, and context should be this as usual, and I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna place a semicolon in here, and for the resource, actually we haven't built our own custom resource, so for that purpose we're gonna access Android built-in resource. So what we're gonna have to do is android.r. and then here I'm gonna use a layout dot simple list item 1. This is actually a built-in list item in the SDK of Android. If we want to create our own custom resource, then we can do it also, but right now for the sake of simplicity we are actually creating and using the built-in one. And then I'm going to switch on to text resource ID. So what does text resource ID do? Now I'm going to give it the resources of strings which I want to put into a list item of the layout. So for that purpose, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create a list of string. So I'm going to get down, explore the values, click on it, and then create another XML file. And this XML file, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create that string array. So I'm going to give it a name of cities, or you can give it a name of fruits, and I'm just going to finish it and then click on fruits, and in here I'm going to have to create a string array to hold on those values. So string, that will be array, that's it. Now inside a string array I'm going to have to create the elements. So for that purpose, what I'm going to have to use item, and item name should be like apple, and then I'm going to give it a name of apple, apple, and then I'm gonna give it a name of item name is equal to mango, mango, item name is equal to banana, and that's it. I want to use only these three values. I'm going to save it and get back to main activity.java file, and in here if I want to access this fruit.xml file inside a values folder, I'm going to have to get the resources for it. So get resources dot get string array. It is not a string, it is a string array, so I'm going to get the string array, and in here I'm going to have to use the ID of it. So what I'm going to have to use is the R for class, and then I'm going to use array because it is actually an array of strings, so I'm going to use the array of it, and it will be in a simple format. So to make it appear in the list, actually I'm going to have to write array, but the reason it is giving me an error because I haven't given a name to the string array. So I'm going to get back, and here I'm going to give it a name to name is equal to fruits, and that's it. I'm going to save it, get back to it, and then I'm just going to use once again dot, as you can see that it is now appearing in the list, array dot fruits. I'm going to give it a name, and then I'm going to save it, and now that's it. Now I'm going to run the application by clicking on it and write application OK, and we'll see it whether it works or not. As you can see that now we have completely loaded the application into emulator, and now the list has appeared inside this application. This is an apple, this is mango, and this is banana, and you can add several list items into it furthermore.